it. Don't get scared now. Hello. Yes!
The little jerk is armed! What's up, guys? It's Benny. Our job on this channel is to reach and change hearts and minds in order to expand the cause of freedom across the Western world and preserve that Western civilization for my children and yours. In order to win that war, which it very much is a culture war that is raging right now, you must take enemy territory. You must be able to go into the enemy camp, seize their trappings and treasure, and establish yourself. And, well, little did I know that I'd be going into Camp Cuomo. I was invited onto Chris Cuomo's show. I didn't know much about the Cuomos. I'm not from New York. I've never lived in New York, but I know that this is a iconoclast Democrat dynasty, these Cuomos. They're the sons of Mario Cuomo, who's ran for president as a Democrat, was governor of New York for a bajillion years as a Democrat, and really like established Democrat dominance in that state. They are very much a political pedigreed family. Chris Cuomo famously on his CNN show held up a massive Q-tip in order to troll his governor brother, something that is, well, in infamy now. So little did I ever in my life think that I would be, well, chilling with this guy on his podcast. But you know what? It's wild times. And little did I think that I'd be promoting Chris Cuomo. And the reason why is because something wild has happened, man. We're talking to each other now. I'm not saying that Chris Cuomo and I have a ton in common, but I do think that it's interesting how much you have in common with someone who's willing to be honest about the current state of the political landscape. And when I went on Chris Cuomo's podcast, I encourage you to go watch the full interview. It's in the link in the description. But when I went on, I didn't expect to hear a very honest takedown of the Democrat Party. And this has since gone viral on my page. Chris Cuomo declaring the Democrat Party dead, which is really something given, again, his pedigree and where he comes from. He says that elitism, open border socialism, and defund the police killed the modern Democrat Party, that party no longer exists. He's not even sure why his brother is still a Democrat, which is fascinating because he's running as a Democrat for mayor of New York. Ladies and gentlemen, he also went hard in on how libs try and tell you what to say and how you can say it and what you will say. The censorship complex and going after socialists. Fascinating here. Ladies and gentlemen, something I didn't know I was going to get when I chatted with Chris Cuomo. Here we go.
My brother's a Democrat. I don't know why, but he is. My father was a Democrat. I know exactly why he was, but his party doesn't exist anymore. And while I had disagreements with my father about different issues, I knew what principles were guiding him.
Can you unpack something for me that you just said that I found fascinating? You said that my father's Democrat Party and your father ran for president as a Democrat. This is correct. And he led the state of New York as governor. As a Democrat.
3 terms.
So he was he was Mr. Democrat.
Yes.
Right. And he was an iconoclast.
Liberal lion.
He was an iconoclast for the Democrat Party. You can't go anywhere in New York without finding Cuomo on the name of a bridge or a road. And so you say that his party doesn't exist anymore. Unpack that for me.
So my father's battle was against trickle-down economics and Reagan Republicanism, okay? The Democratic Party that he fought for and the Republican Party that he fought against, neither exists anymore. My father's party was take care of the little guy, take care of the little guy, take care of the little guy. Stay out of our bedroom, stay out of my heart, okay? Just do all the government we need, but only the government we need. And we're a secular society. Don't put anything else on me. That's who they were. Republicans at that time were teaching to the top, for the top, about the top. Everybody should see the world through the eyes of the top, and everything else is great because the top has it great. That was the conflict. Now it's the left arguing for a cultural elite This is how you will talk about people, Benny. This is how you will raise your kids. This is what you will tell them is okay. This is what, you will say and not say. And the Republicans are, this system sucks. All the little people are getting squashed. These elites are killing us. Anti-everything. They flipped in terms of their operative animus and their constituencies out of convenience and time. So my father's party is no more. Socialism, he believed that the opportunity to be part of a free market was exactly why his parents, illiterate, unsophisticated, untrained, except with a heart, 3 sizes too big, filled with ambition and dreams, to come to be able to compete, without some feudal system on your head in rural Italy where they were telling you who you could be and how you could be, was worth everything. The idea of going to socialism, not socialistic. Yes, public education. Yes, entitlements. Yes, there are socialistic aspects to our constitutional republic within a capitalistic model that work. They work for the collective. That's what we do. But it's a capitalistic society. No Democrat ever argued for anything else. No Democrat would have argued for open borders. None of this. My father would have done none of this. And why? Because those were the ideals of the party. Now it's different.
What would your father have said about defund the police?
It would have been laughable. It would have been laughable. But people didn't say things like that, Benny. They didn't say wildly outrageous, like my father would have picked up the phone and called Donald right away and said, called the president right away and said to him, your father would never want to hear you say that again. He used to put all kinds of people into his buildings. Yeah, you guys got jammed up. He learned a lesson from that. He believed in having as big a pool of people as possible. When the president then running said, Islam hates us, my father would have called him up and put him in check and said, we don't talk like that about an entire group of people. Not where we come from. Not where we come from in Queens, where we were all otherized. Them for being Germans, the Trumps, everybody had their little bucket for a while until they assimilated. And today, it's all provocative bullshit all the time. No responsibility, no accountability. You just move on to the next. And it gets us views, it gets us clicks, but it's not getting us to a better place. And
well, you learn a lot of things talking to people. I went onto this show not trying to be confrontational. Okay. My strategy here was listen, obviously don't simp or cuck out, stand up for what I believe in, explain what I believe in, but do so calmly and do your level-headed best to just try and establish some of the things that perhaps you have in common, and then upon your disagreements, be disagreeing in good faith, right? Don't disagree with somebody by screaming you're a Nazi. it's like that is the single dumbest and worst way to push an argument. You're racist. It's like, no, actually, there's a way to disagree with people and have a good faith conversation, constructive conversation. It's fine. So in the course of doing that, Chris Cuomo admitted that he was a firearm owner. And he's really proud of the fact that he owns firearms and that he's wanting to protect himself and his family, which is wild. Here's that exchange.
If you put your hands on me, you better kill me in that culture. So they argue all the time. Nobody says, I'm going to kick your ass, Benny, if you say that again. That's uniquely American. Okay? Having weapons, sure. That's an aggravator to anger and hostility. But wanting to be angry and hostile is what we got to deal with. I'm a gun owner. Yeah, we can do better with who gets them and how. Sure. Especially when it comes to yellow and red flag laws. Absolutely. And the types of weapons. Sure. Why do we use them the way we do? Why do we shoot each other so easily? Why do we kill each other so easily? The biggest danger to American society is fundamentalism. This is our big enemy. Fundamentalism. That's what we're seeing. All the violence, all the terrorism, Benny, they're all Americans now. They're all Americans. Why? Because we're becoming extremists. That's why.
Why are you a gun owner?
Because I believe in it as a tool to protect my house. And I believe in it as a tool which I would understand if people came at me for it and wanted to regulate it differently. I get it. But my son and I like to shoot. I do not like that I haven't beaten him in 2.5 years, but I do like to shoot off our backyard. And we have a lot of fun doing it. And I've liked teaching him about caring for things that can hurt. And that matter, and that the responsibility matters, and knowing how to use it matters. And, you know, not because of you specifically, Benny, or at least not that I can remember, but our crazy politics have given people an irrational belief that they can come and seek an audience and seek conflict in a way that is very dangerous and makes me worry about the safety of my family. Now, I have trained for almost 30 years to do nothing but put down a threat. But I can't put down everything, and I can't really deal with more than one at a time. So God forbid, God forbid, God forbid, I want something that can put a hole in somebody if they threaten my kids. Do I understand that there are regulations? Was it a pain in the ass for me to get the shotguns? Yeah, it's a pain in the ass. I get it. I'm okay with it. I've watched enough bodies get sprayed all over the place to understand that you got to have checks. And the idea that there's no check on the right is silly. But I'm not your enemy on it. I'm a gun owner. And I believe that's true on every fucking issue. I really do. I think the division is already, I'll give you, name any issue other than your demonic thing, because I'm not with you on that. But name any issue where you think I'll disagree with you 100%. 100%. An issue, not a person.
Well, why aren't you with me on the demonic thing? I think that's interesting.
I don't believe
and I'm not saying that listen, to be able to declare that, I'm not claiming that I have any type of authority to do that.
Right.
I am a simple Christian. I just read my Bible. That's it. And I assume you were raised Catholic. Are you still a Catholic?
Yeah.
You still a practicing Catholic?
Yeah, I'm a failed Catholic.
Well, everyone's a failed Christian.
I know.
Right? That's the point of Christianity.
Yes.
But
it'd be nice if we extended that rule to how we deal with one another, though, in society, which we don't.
I love that you brought up your son when it came to firearm ownership, because
I know that's sexist.
Purpose,
the girls, if they wanted to shoot the weapon, I would work with them. I'm not going to force it on them. I didn't do that with water skiing. I'm not going to do it with a fucking shotgun.
But you're the protector. You're the head of your household.
But if they want it, I taught my girls. I'm a girl dad too, though, and my girls will fucking put it to you. You come at one of my daughters, the 22-year-old or the 15-year-old, and you are rude and you try to be physically aggressive with them, you better have your fucking hands up. Both of them know what to do.
Chris,
both of them know how. All Cuomos can put down a threat. I promise you that. And if they wanted to learn, I would. I don't mean to be chauvinistic about it. But my son wanted to learn. And I wanted to make sure that he knew when you point this at somebody, you better be ready to kill them. You better be ready to take a life. Otherwise, here's how we hold them. And he got it.
But your instinct, Chris, was so raw and so primal and so bred in the bone, so deep into the DNA of every man who's ever lived, certainly every man, in your lineage and in mine, that says, I will protect my family. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to take the means necessary to ensure that if evil is visited upon my home, that it is met with equal or greater force to protect my children. And that is what most men want. That is what all good men want.
I think that's what most women want. Everybody wants to be safe.
Absolutely.
Then we did something that I guess I wasn't expecting, and it's something that, of course, has sort of rocketed to the top of a lot of people's minds, especially in the fallout of what's happened in Washington, D.C. with President Trump doing the takeover, which is a conversation about safety in our cities and why Chris Cuomo should leave New York. Why New York, based on my standards, is a failed state, which, is like quite an argument to make to Mr. New York, Mr. New York City, Mr. Primetime CNN, Mr. My Family, my dad, my brother, Mr. Governor. But it's an important argument to make. And it's something that I couldn't believe it, but like Chris Cuomo is like straight up agreeing with me that New York is a failed state based on the city park metric. Here we go.
So I'm the father of 4 young children, 4 children under 4. So we've had a child every single year since moving to Florida. It's great down here. Sunshine. You should think about it. You should maybe think about getting out of New York. Come on down to
Benny,
Florida.
you couldn't have children before you moved to Florida. Is that what you're trying to tell me?
I had one child in DC and then because DC defunded their police, there was a gang war on my block. My house got shot up. Somebody got killed in my front yard. I still have it on my Ring camera. And then in the drug war, they burned down the house next to mine, which was a row house. So the flames went into my child's crib, into their room. The entire nursery was black from smoke and soot. And firefighters had to break down my door and save my newborn baby. So it was the worst day of my life, actually.
Worst day of your life, but it also made you realize how fortunate you are because you survived it.
It made me say, I got to get the hell out of here. Yeah, I got to get to a place that won't defund their police and their services for the taxpayers. I got to get to a place that has sanity, that has that have family flourishing policies. And the best way to tell that, actually, Chris, is it's very simple. And I learned this because I went to a couple different places to figure out where I was going to move after leaving DC. And Tennessee was high on the list, Texas potentially, is the city park rule. You go to a city park and you look around the city park and you can see one of two things. You won't see them both. You'll see one of two things. It'll either be a place for bums sleeping and pissing on themselves, stabbing each other with needles, or it will be a place for mothers and children and family flourishing. It can't be both. They're incompatible. And so I use this actually as a rule to measure which cities should I move my families to, because the parks will either be for the moms and the children. And what that indicates is that there's a police force there that will enforce standards, the kind of standards you're talking about, the algorithm.
Yeah.
That we want to live in a place that is for family flourishing. We don't want to live in a place that allows for the degeneracy and crime and open vagrancy and for the destruction, quite frankly, of the family unit, because one of those bums is eventually going to attack a child or attack a mother.
Listen, I'm with you. I'm with you.
That's what I use to measure. And I think New York City actually
it's not a bad
fails
metric.
that test. New York City right now fails that test. There are
New York City proper in certain areas would fail that test. Yes, I agree.
And so you don't want to take your kids. You would never. You're still technically a young father, right? You have teenagers, and so you don't want to take your kids around.
No, I don't. I don't. But hold on, Benny. Let's take the next step. I agree with you. I agree with you.
My argument, just to your point, just very quickly, let me wrap this up. To your point about the algorithm, I don't want to take my kids also to like a place that has open pornography.
Right.
You know, let's say there was a town square that had porn up on the buildings.
Right.
Or that had like drugs being sold.
Right.
Or that had, I don't know, violent, horrible open violence.
Right.
I want the algorithm to also reflect that, right? It's the public square for a reason. And I don't want that in the public square I bring my children to physically. And I don't want it digitally either.
I mean, slippery slope, but I agree with you fundamentally.
Decline is a choice. Democrats choose to prioritize criminals over parents and children. And that's been the end of them. This has been written up pretty extensively. Got into a little bit of a back and forth here. But I'll just leave it with you here to say, you're not going to agree on everything. But it is important to stand to stand and deliver, especially when someone's wrong. And defund the police is not only wrong, it's utterly immoral. And it did lead to the end of the Democrat Party as we know it. It was fun to call that out, actually. Here we go.
Nobody doesn't want that. Nobody wants to be unsafe. It's about what policies win elections and what level of accountability there is for those policies. I mean, it's easy to say, I want to be safe when I walk down the street. Okay, how? If the street is unsafe, how do you make it safe? Well,
you don't defund your police. That nearly led to the death of my daughter in my own house. They defunded the police.
Defunding the police is three of the stupidest words ever said by Democrats in history. That was stupid. They know it was stupid. You will not find, anybody wanting to defend that idea. They will immediately rationalize it and run away. So fine, you win the argument. Defund the police was stupid.
They painted it on the street outside of the White House.
Oh yeah,
they painted. They meant the police.
They meant it until they realized they would never win another election.
In the end, what does this eventually lead to? Well, whether it's Charlie Kirk going on Bill Maher's show, or me going on Chris Cuomo's show, or Donald Trump going on Joe Rogan, Bernie Sanders going on Joe Rogan, the dialogue between the sides is good. It's very good. People shouldn't cuck out or like try and sell their principles, but the dialogue between sides is so incredibly valuable. It's something that's very exciting. It's something that's very unique that's happening right now that has not happened before in my lifetime, where so many different sides are talking to each other and are having, it doesn't mean they have to agree on everything, but they're having good faith conversations, which is what I was trying to have here. Simply a good faith conversation to like elucidate out something new. And I think we established that. It's very exciting. Anyway, thanks for watching. It's your boy Benny. Like, share, and subscribe. Maybe we'll bring a little more heat next time. Talk about these giant Q-tips, which we did actually do. Watch the full interview. It's your boy Benny. See ya.